Defiance Silver, we are Mexico-focused, precious metal and base metal exploration company. We have 2 assets in Mexico, and I'll quickly touch on Tepal because we do have sort of an asterisk on that, and we are in litigation over an illegal transfer of our claims. So I won't speak too much, but I will speak about our Zacatecas Silver assets, our Zacatecas projects, because they have been the focus of a lot of work over the last year. Zacatecas is a epithermal district. It is small starter resource. We have been drilling extensively since putting out that resource in 2014. It is a historical mine that has been in some way, shape, or form of production for almost 500 years. We have an option to acquire, or we outright own the asset, all of our assets in the district to 100%. And we have excellent infrastructure in the area, and I'll show you on a map there. So Defiance Silver has a robust resource base. Tepal has 1.8 million ounces of gold, 813 million pounds of copper. The Zacatecas projects have 17.9 million ounces of silver, and we've drilled about 200 or 300 meters below that resource estimate, so quite a large mineral envelope there. And the exploration potential is significant in both the areas. We have the second largest land holding in the Zacatecas district. Our Tepal asset, we doubled the land package in the last year, and we've been continuously delivering results outside of the main resource area in Zacatecas. I think that the most important thing for success in an exploration project is the team that you have behind you, and our team has over 100 years of cumulative experience working in Mexico, taking projects from exploration discoveries through to M&A and mine development. We have over 200 years when you combine our capital markets, our directors and capital markets experience. We have strong leverage to precious metal prices, which is kind of a cliche for an exploration company to highlight. I think everybody should. But our Tepal project, every $250 movement in the gold price adds $100 million to the post-tax NPV at 2017 prices. Our shareholders, about 35 to 40% management key shareholders. Largest shareholder is the CEO's fund, which is over 20% of the share of key holdings. So very aligned with shareholders, and we continuously buy in the market as well. And we have drill-ready exploration targets. We're drilling right now in Zacatecas. We've been actively drilling for the last year and a half, and we have more targets that we could drill in a year right now. A bit on the cap structure. So about 10.5 at the end of the month, $10.5 million in the bank, trading at $42 million at last close last week. 227 million shares outstanding, no debt, 20 million warrants on the book right now. So pretty interesting time to be looking at the stock. We raised money last at 90 cents. So we've seen sort of the tide go out like every other junior right now. So Zacatecas. This is arguably the most important silver mining jurisdiction in the world. We're about 40 kilometers away from Fresnillo. It's got about 500 years of mining history, excellent infrastructure. We have modern mines right next door. The closest operation to us is the closest project to our resource area. That's Capstone's Cozamin mine, large underground copper-silver mine, producing copper for 90 cents a pound. The infrastructure is phenomenal there. There's an international airport. You can drive to the project on a paved road. It takes about 6 minutes. High-tension power lines across both of the assets. And we do have a strong and very skilled mining workforce in the area. And it is a town that really understands the role of natural resources for the economics of the area. Zacatecas is the largest silver-producing state in Mexico, and Mexico is the largest silver-producing country in the world. We have about 4,300 hectares in the area, second largest landowner in the district. Like I said, small starter resource, and that was based on about 14,000 meters of drilling done up until 2014. Our thesis is that this is like Fresnillo from the 1960s. So Fresnillo was out of ore in the 1960s, currently the world's largest primary silver mine. They started to do a lot of district exploration, a lot of surface exploration. In 1975, they found the Santo Niño vein, which is 3 meters of 1,000 grams silver, 1.6 grams gold, and about 1% combined lead zinc. That's important because that turned the lights back on in the operation. Up until that time, they were looking around our project. What that also did was focus a lot of the exploration into the Fresnillo district. So exploration discovery done by Fresnillo in 1975. Mag Silver steps in, end of the 90s. They find the Juanicipio, Valdecañas, and associated veins. That will become the world's largest primary silver mine in the next year. So discovery-focused geoscience works, and it's worked very well for us in the last couple of years. What also happened in that time was all of the exploration in the area in Zacatecas also flipped over Fresnillo, so fractured land ownership. You just didn't see anybody doing an exploration, and the only company that really was in there doing drilling was Capstone Mining with the Cozamin mine. They're now down about 1,300 meters into that system, showing that these things have huge vertical profiles of mineralization. So in order to have a district, you need to have a district-scale land package, and that was us last year or 2 years ago acquiring Pan American Silver's Zacatecas district land holdings. The first holes that went into that were spectacular, up to 3,000 grams per ton silver. This is the first drill hole that went into the property. Mineable widths, mineable grades, all above our cutoff grade on the main resource area. But alongside that, we found what is about a 4-kilometer long vein system, again, that has seen no drilling, and so we just kind of stepped through there, coming back with wide widths, good grades. But what we're really interested in is stuff in the eastern half of the district here. So here's the resource area. This is a main Mexican national highway that cuts through there, a toll highway. There's power on site. You can drive all over the property. And this vein outcrops at surface over 4 kilometers, and we have a series of these that are parallel throughout the district. Why we're excited about that western half was that we were targeting these veins, and that's what came back on the eastern half with very high-grade mineralization. What we found was these veins are coming off of a much larger system at depth here, and that was 50 meters of 70 grams per ton silver, but it's a district-scale contact that we can trace for multi-kilometers along the property, and you can see this hole didn't get deep enough into it. But coming back with multi-hundred-gram silver, some gold as well, and really great access and really great infrastructure in the area. So we're hesitant to call it a discovery just yet because we only have one drill hole into it, but the size and the scale and the mineralization that we saw on this property, or sorry, on this drill hole does show that there is some significant potential to drill an additional hole like this. The northern half of the district, Panuco, that's interesting as well. Zacatecas Silver, they're drilling on our property boundary. They're another publicly traded company. The highest grade results that they've gotten on their property is right on our property boundary there, and you can see this system goes right across our property. And in the 80s, Pan American Silver drilled it over there, coming back with really good grades. So that was a kind of a hang-on to the property. We're just watching them, seeing what they're doing in the district, and kind of designing our program after that. But the Veta Grande is really what does hold this together. It's the anchor of us in the district. It's one of the Mexico's most well-known mining districts, our vein systems. It was found in the 1500s. It's seen more or less near continuous production for over 500 years. The infrastructure is great, as I mentioned. You can drive to it on a paved road. There's power on site. There's over 25,000 tons of milling capacity within 50 kilometers. So there's a lot of optionality of what you can do with this vein. Low-cost production is the name of the game in this area. We have an option to acquire 100% ownership of this. We have one balloon payment left, and Lagarto's property outright owned, which is just south of this, and on strike with the Cozamin mine. As I said, we've been working at drilling out the limits of this mineral system so we can do an updated resource estimate. So the resource at 16.7 million ounces is about tabled to this elevation. You can see we're about 250 meters below that and still drilling quite high-grade mineralization. This is the drill result we put out last week, which is 3.38 meters of 950 grams silver. We're still in a very active silver system. We're not tapering out. And we're also seeing some very high-grade massive sulfide mineralization throughout the vein system here. I'll echo what previous presenter was saying in that the miners left a lot behind. This is the underground infrastructure that's in place. Like I said, there's a great history of mining here, but that underground infrastructure is quite valuable. Combined with the power lines that are, we're drilling right underneath that power line, open pit in the background there, it does mean that you can go in and I think have a lot of optionality with what you want to do with this system. We've been drilling holes throughout the working, seeing what was left behind, relic mineralization, but what we're focused on is what are the controls of mineralization and how deep does the mineralization go? And so when I was presenting in Zurich last year, we had just released these holes, and we stepped down about 50 or 100 meters below that, and we're still drilling very high-grade mineralization. Like I said, we put those results out last week, and we found a series of these mineral chutes that we've defined across the property, and we continue to drill them. And like I said, we have the drill turning on site basically right in this part of the section. So what is our strategy to add value to the district? We know that discovery-focused geoscience works. It's worked everywhere in Mexico for those who have dedicated themselves to it. It's worked for us in the past. Worked for Mag Silver. They're developing the world's largest primary silver mine. Worked for Fresnillo. They built the world's largest primary silver mine. And it's worked for us. We've delivered continuously high-grade results, and we have about a 90% success ratio. But it takes time to do that. You need to have a team to do that. You need to have dedication to do that. And you need to be willing to kind of take some jumps with it. So we built a huge data set. We started to test the data set. And we were able to demonstrate that there is a lot more to be found in this district. There's a lot more to be found in this camp. And it helps that we're fully financed to do that. We have about $10.3 million in the bank. And we are doing an exploration and resource drilling program. So eventually we will cut off the exploration drilling and define or outline an additional resource. And that is really just to add ounces to the district. I think that's what every exploration company should be doing, is adding ounces of tonnage to their books. So we completed our phase 1 regional drilling at Lucita. We've completed three phases of drilling at Veta Grande. We have a drill spinning at Veta Grande right now. We've got high-grade results coming from the Palenque vein system. We've got high-grade results coming from the Veta Grande vein system. We're seeing that mineral resource envelope expand up to 3 times below the current resource estimate. And we're just going to continue to drill the Veta Grande district because we do know that you can build mines here, and those who have drilled out good resources do build mines here. Zacatecas is a very supportive workforce, very supportive mining culture. And Mexico in general has a culture that understands the role of natural resources to the economy of the country and the state that they're in. Mining is the largest contributor to GDP in the state of Zacatecas, so we do find that it's a very supportive place to work. I'll touch on Tepal here. We've got a couple minutes left, but it is also an interesting project. As I said, we have an active court case right now in the district courts in Michoacan. We had a legal transfer of our licenses, but we're very positive, and the guidance that we've been receiving is a very positive outcome on this. We're very interested in what the potential is to build this, or to take it from on paper, what is a shovel-ready project, to an actual shovel-ready project. It's located in Michoacan, which is about 4.5 hours drive west of Mexico City. It's got a measured and indicated resource of 1.8 million ounces of gold and 813 million pounds of copper, some additional resources in the inferred category as well. It has a PEA, PFS that was done in 2017, PFS that was done in 2011, PEA that was done in 2013, updated in 2017, and it demonstrates some pretty strong economics as well. Infrastructure is great. You can drive to it from Guadalajara, you can drive to it from Mexico City, you can drive to it from Morelia, the capital city. It's powered within 8 kilometers. There's a hydroelectric facility within 5 kilometers of the asset. Surface rights are currently held by private landowners, unlike sort of ejido or community ownership or fraccionamento ownership that we find elsewhere in Mexico that we have at our Zacatecas project. And the 2 closest ports are 2 of the largest concentrate shipping facilities in Mexico. So infrastructure is great here, and that does show up in the PEA numbers. So at $12.50 gold and $2.50 copper, the project has a post-tax NPV of $169 million, post-tax IRR of 24%, and a 2.3-year payback. That number, as I said, quite leveraged to the underlying commodity prices. At $1,500 gold and $3 copper, that post-tax NPV doubles to $345 million. And we recently entered into an option to repurchase the NSR on this asset as well. What we believe is this could be a 100,000 ounce a year, 10-year producer. And you can see that you're almost there, but the back-end mine life, much like most open pit mines, it tapers off after year 5, and they don't have any resources to support that 10-year mine life. Capital costs go up as you get deeper into the project. You're expending more to develop the operation. But it does have a tidy production profile at 79,000 ounces and 32 million pounds of copper per year at, again, 2017 prices, so they're probably getting a bit stale right now, $396 all in sustaining capital. It's a $214 million initial build-out, so we are seeing a lower quartile of producers in the area, and like I said, 10-year producer, with really no focus on expanding the mine life or bumping up that back-end grade. So how do we pull a rabbit out of the hat? We've spent the last year really working at what is the mineral system here, and I think that's very important to the success at Zacatecas, that's very important to the success at Tepal, and that's very important to all exploration stories. Where are you in the mineral system, and test where the mineralization is going to be. It's been broken into 2 blocks, a center block and the west block, and that, I think, was never really correctly identified in the past. It was all looked at as a porphyry or one type of mineralization. And that center block is much higher epithermal-style mineralization. The west block is deeper porphyry-style mineralization. So where we see the potential to increase the ounces right away is in this south zone here. The south zone has a 5-year pit shell, so ending at the end of that year 5 mine life, where you see the resources and tonnage drop off, and that's the base of the pit shell design right there. Deepest hole into the property, about 200 meters below that, almost tripling the size of the vertical profile, is 188 meters of 1.04 grams per ton gold and 0.38% copper, which is the highest grade copper gold drill hole on the property. So that instantly shows us there's a lot of potential to build out the resources below the existing conceptual pits, and then there's a lot more high-grade mineralization as well across the property, up to 25 grams gold and 565 grams silver in this Tezate zone. And we're seeing a number of, high-grade corridors of gold-silver mineralization throughout the property. So we have a lot of zones identified. We have a lot of drilling planned. Like I said, we do have this ongoing litigation. We're positive that's going to turn out in our favor. And we're just going to continue to build out the resource base at Zacatecas in the meantime. It's a company with 2 standalone assets. So we are fortunate that we have the potential to, piggyback off each other. So if you're wanting to go for silver and you're wanting to go in Mexico, I think that's an interesting time to look at Zacatecas Silver. Keep in mind we are drilling right now. We're going to continue to put out drill results and look out for an updated resource estimate in the next 12 months.